Now this one here, the biggest fraud on TV. Where my Niger boys at, man? My 419ers, man. This video is for yous. This video is for yous. Now this is a little different to what I usually react to. I usually react to like police videos, rare. But I thought, let me switch it up, man. You know what I mean? Because sometimes police videos can be a bit tedious, innit? I thought, let me just look for interesting videos. You know what? Don't lie, I didn't even find this myself. I got it sent to me. I thought, let me react to it, innit? You know what I'm saying? Let's get into this, man.
It's September 9th, 2001. British host Chris Tarrant welcomes 8 contestants to Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
These are ancient times to you, man.
But to sit on the hot seat, you have to win fastest finger first.
Put these words in the order they occur in the title of the Agatha Christie.
Who Wants to Be a Millionaire was like... That's an old man show, bro.
On, death the.
Well, back then for me, but now I find it interesting.
All these were correct. Most of them, nearly all of them. Who was fastest? Charles Ingram in 3.97. That's so fast.
Major Charles Ingram has been a contestant twice before.
It's not
now
changed.
He finally gets his
Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Confidently, he takes his place. But this confidence doesn't last long. Ingram is often unsure of his answers. After just 7 out of 15 questions, he merely has 1 of his 3 jokers left. But somehow he manages to answer correctly again and again.
Yeah, similar.
And then the time has come. Just
one
one
big
more
money
correct answer separates him from £1 million.
Number 1, followed by 100 zeros, is known by what name?
Any of you know where it is? Number 1, followed by 100 zeros, is known by what name? Don't have a clue what the fuck that's saying. I'm not even gonna lie. And number 1, followed by 100 zeros, is known by what name? Nah, not million. Nah. Let's see the options.
Google, Megatron, Gigabit, Nanomole.
I don't think I've heard of a Google.
But seconds later, even though he never heard of a Google, he completely changes his guess.
I really do think it's a Google.
The tension in the studio is almost unbearable.
You just won £1 million!
Only 2 people managed to achieve that before him. An incredible run against all odds. Maybe too incredible. In fact, Major Charles Ingram cheated. He is quite possibly the biggest fraud who has ever been on television. He and his accomplices have been tried and convicted. Their heist has been publicized and fictionalized. Yet, to this day, they maintain their innocence.
We didn't do it. We really didn't cheat.
20 years later, there are still a lot of open questions. And behind Ingram's case lurks an even weirder story. One of an underground organization that systematically exploited the show for years. How did they do it? While Ingram is celebrating his victory in front of the camera, there's turmoil behind the scenes. The showrunners are sussed out. A sound technician already called their CEO Paul Smith while Ingram was still answering questions. Smith told him to keep the show going. Ingram receives a check with his winnings from Tarrant. But the check is retained by Celador, the company behind the show, for 8 days for processing. In the meantime, Smith and the technicians look back at their material. Ingram
That's what they'll do. Even if you didn't cheat, yeah, they're gonna look for any possible way, yeah, just to not pay out. I swear down. Yo, you bots need to piss out on my stream, bro. Like, how the heck do I get rid of bots, bro?
No clue, really. How did this guy, after being left with 1 joker at £4,000, snatch the million? The probability of just guessing a 1 in 4 7 times in a row plus a 1 in 2 is 0.003%. No way, right? They look at his speech pattern when thinking about his answers.
Craig David, I just can't. I don't think I've never heard of Craig David, to be honest.
There's something interesting happening here. No matter the question, Ingram goes through all 4 possible answers, often chronologically, repeatedly.
Emmental is a cheese from which country?
It could be France, I suppose. Then again, it could be Italy, so. Or maybe it's the Netherlands.
Right. Yes. That's sort of how the question works, Charles.
No, I got
That in itself might still be quite normal behavior. It seems fairly rational to go one by one if you're not sure. But then,
Who was the second husband of Jacqueline Kennedy? Adnan Khashoggi, Ronald Reagan,
Ronald Reagan. I've heard of that name.
Rupert Murdoch.
Okay, I'm not certain. I would have thought that it would be Aristotle Onassis.
Why?
wait, someone coughed just now at the correct option.
Aristotle Onassis.
Aristotle Onassis was indeed married to Kennedy. Huh. And then it happens again.
But the reason I think it's cricket is because
And again.
I think it was Holbein.
The studio obviously has cameras and mics for the candidate and the show host, but it also has cameras and mics pointed at the audience for reaction shots. The technicians start looking at what's happening in the crowd while Ingram is reading out the options. Who is coughing? And always at the right time.
Which American platform was founded in 2012 and is known for its creative and interactive online lessons? A. Biscuit. B. Bilingual. C. Bicycle. D. Brilliant.
Bilingual.
You already know it. Brilliant.
fuck.
It's a great way to learn new skills
Bro, I
across
would not
a
last.
variety of
I wouldn't
subjects
make a
like
pound in
math,
this show.
programming, and artificial intelligence. You can choose
Fuck
between
it up.
thousands of interactive lessons without ever feeling bored or overwhelmed. You can customize your content to fit
this an
your
ad?
needs and work through
Oh,
the
piss off,
exercises
bro.
at your own pace. New lessons. The show was just
The bar afterwards.
What would that pay for YouTube
with
Premium?
it. That Adrian Pollock were obsessed with it. That was also the case with Charles Ingram and his wife Diana. Her brother Adrian Pollock had been on the show 4 times before, on the hot seat once, and won £32,000. A few months later, she managed to get on the hot seat and won £32,000 as well.
So I remember talking to her in the bar afterwards, and I said, "Great, congratulations." She said, "Yeah, only 32." And I said to her, "It's a huge amount of money." She went, "Yes, but I should have done more. I should have beaten my brother and all this."
Mind you, it is incredibly difficult to get a spot on this show. Thousands, if not millions of people try. The selection process is brutal, but this family managed to get in over and over again. They knew the system inside out and how to play it. Adrian even had a mock-up fastest finger first console at home. He and Diana wanted to publish a book with tips on how to get on the show. But as it turns out, they were not the only ones who knew the system. And some were a lot better at exploiting it. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire is not broadcast live and has a set runtime. So when Charles finally gets his shot, filming stops for the day after the £4,000 question.
And I remember us saying, "God, that poor bloody Major, you know, he's got as much chance of getting the 32,000, you know, as going to the moon in a rocket." I mean, there was just no way this guy could possibly go much further.
Ambitious Diana is frustrated with Charles. That would make sense, because Charles is a smart man. He holds university degrees in engineering and management and will later be accepted by Mensa. That evening, as the couple is on their way home on the M4, their frustrations likely intensify as they dwell on the opportunity for immense wealth slipping away right from under their grasp. They will not let that happen. Diana and Charles call Tequin Wittock. He's a Welsh college lecturer and fellow game show enthusiast. Adrian and Diana have been training Tequin and helping him to get on the show. He's supposed to be a candidate tomorrow, so he will be in the studio. Charles, Diana, and Tequin are on the phone for 5 minutes. They supposedly devise a very simple, yet effective plan. Charles reads out the answers. Whoever knows the answer coughs when it comes up.
Have you got a strategy?
Well, I have actually. I have got a strategy. I was a bit defensive on the last show. You know, I sort of started talking myself out of answers that, frankly, I should have known and did know. So this time I'm going on the counterattack.
This counterattack obviously works. Though he repeatedly says he has no idea or never heard of certain options, he goes on to 180 pivot seconds later.
Craig David, I just can't. I don't think I've never heard of Craig David, to be honest. I've just
Craig
never heard of
David.
Craig David. So.
Come on.
No, I'll go Craig David. Yeah.
You just won £32,000.
I don't think it's Paris. I think it's Berlin. I'm going to go for Paris.
You thought it was Berlin, Berlin, Berlin. You changed your mind to Paris. That brought you 500,000.
I don't think I've heard of a Google. I don't actually know what a Google is, but I really do think it's a Google.
You just won 1 million.
Back behind the scenes, a total of 192 coughs have been recorded by the microphones in the studio. A lot of them when a correct answer was mentioned. Paul Smith is confident this can't be a coincidence and calls the police. Later, he makes another call.
Mr. Ingram, we didn't meet. I am the managing director of Celador.
Right.
I think I should just get straight to the point.
Yep.
And effectively say what is a pre-prepared statement here. I have to tell you that we have suspicions from viewing the recording of last Monday's program and subsequently studying the tapes carefully that there were irregularities during the taping of the show in which you participated.
Oh, good Lord, no.
Because of that, I have to tell you that these suspicions have been referred to the police.
Right.
And thus, we, for not for the moment, will be airing the program or indeed authorizing payment of the check.
Right. Yeah, well, I mean, you know, I completely refute that, obviously. Good Lord, I'm absolutely gobsmacked. All right, well, thanks for letting me know.
Okay, thank you.
Cheers.
No!
1.5
Nah! Is that all you're gonna say, bro? Someone's trying to scam you out of £1 million, yeah? If he didn't scam them, but they're trying to scam you out of £1 million, is that how you're gonna react? Are you mad at me on that phone, you fucking dickhead, mate? Give me my fucking phone, you think you are, my lawyers are gonna contact you. You mad guy. Give me my fucking money, I want it fair and square. The guy's like, thank you for sharing that information. Damn people, bro.
years later, the case went to trial. It quickly turned into a tabloid frenzy. The story of major fraud was just too sensational.
That's a guilty man right there.
In the end, all 3 defendants were found guilty. 2 documentaries were made. The Ingrams never accepted the verdict.
We didn't cheat on that show. There was no plan to cheat on that show. I won that money perfectly honestly and fairly and squarely, and while I was sitting there in the centre of the studio, I did not notice any coughing at all. I was entirely unaware of it. As for the victims, I've heard a lot of people say that this is a victimless crime. Well, actually, there are victims. The 3 defendants were the victims. We should not have been found guilty on the evidence that was presented in court. We were found guilty on a very good story.
Why did you cough then, Diana? I think I needed to clear my throat.
The coughs were just coincidental, according to them. Wittock suffered from a persistent cough all his life. The coughing footage presented in the court had been edited by Celador to accentuate the coughs. Also, why would 3 intelligent people not come up with a smarter way to cheat? At least code the coughs. If the answer is C, cough on D, and so on. Wittock, who supposedly coughed 19 times to hint at the correct answers, flopped when he was in the hot seat. Why was he so all-knowing when supposedly helping Charles? And why would he join such a scheme? How could he have made sure he actually got his share of the money? And perhaps most importantly, was coughing in the audience even audible on stage?
People cough like mad. Everybody's coughing in the studio because they're sort of enclosed or whatever. I had no idea. There was so much noise in the studio that night. It was like a madhouse. People were screaming, they were cheering.
The 2014 book Bad Show casts a lot of doubts on the trial. Similarly did the show Quiz. But, playing the devil's advocate, wouldn't Wittock's chronic illness also be a brilliant cover? If he was just a man who coughed constantly, who would suspect these coughs to be hints? Simple, yes, but also brilliantly hiding in plain sight. More generally, how likely is it that 19 significant coughs
The reason I think
are just a coincidence? Liam Shaw made a fascinating statistical analysis to answer this very question.
And I remembered the case from...
The guy who's coughing should be on that seat because he would have won that money fair and square, because how does he know the answer? You know what I'm saying? How do you know the answer? They can't be on their phones.
when I was a child, and I was very interested in the statistics of the unlikeliness of the coughing coming after the correct answers. So I wanted to investigate that for myself. And so I just attempted to do that because it was locked down and I couldn't leave the house. So I found a way to entertain myself, basically.
The chance for Wittock's 19 cuffs to be coincidental within the time frame the show was filmed is incredibly low, if these were his only cuffs.
And say that half of all of those 192 coughs were Tequin Wittock, then in the statistical trials that I ran, I found that the probability of getting at least 19 coughs would be about 8%.
This ignores the fact that Diana likely too coughed at significant moments.
The analysis I did was just for fun and it's quite silly, but what it convinced me of is that there's no real dispute about the fact that there is some sort of association between coughs and correct answers.
Looking at Shaw's math, the coughs were probably not random. But this clearly was a case of trial by media. According to the New York Times, the actual trial should have been a lot more extensive and critical. They are not sure if there would have been enough evidence to prove guilt. And just as the Ingrams were in the spotlight, another group quietly gamed the show for years. Paddy Spooner was the first person to appear on multiple versions of the show. He won $250,000 in Australia, £250,000 in the UK, and 1,000 euros in Ireland. He knew how to get on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and made no secret of it.
Well, in England, 7 million people phone in. I worked out the population's a lot smaller, and given that most people wait until they've watched the programme before phoning in, so I made my calls in one evening.
215 in one evening?
Yeah, I'm a pretty boring bloke.
His runs were ice-cold, focused, with confident, decisive answers.
The last convicts transported from Britain arrived in Fremantle in which year?
1868.
A. 1848. B. 1858. C. 1868. D. 1878.
He's gangster.
I'll lock in C, 1868.
You had to go before you ever
He's
came up.
gangster. Man said the answer
Right,
before he
let's
even
lock
come
it
up. Oh, shit. There's 4 of you watching, not one of you want to tell me my camera's off.
He dropped out of
Now you wanna
college
tell
and
me.
lived off of pub quizzes before going professional. After bombing on the Irish version, Spooner met Keith Burgess. Burgess had helped people to get on the show for a fee. They teamed up to take that business to the next level. Burgess and Spooner built an underground syndicate called the Consortium. They provided a service to
Oh, bless.
reliably get people on the show and to maximize their winnings. Step 1. Get the call. They would spend thousands of pounds and a lot of hours dialing the show's premium rate registration lines. Once through, they played recordings of their clients leaving messages with their name and number. Step 2. Stall. Once the client got a call back from the show producers, they would answer that he or she wasn't home at the moment. A member of the consortium would then race to the client's home to help with step 3. Get close. Potential contestants had to answer a closest to question on the phone. Say, how tall is Big Ben? 96 meters is correct, but 93 or 100 will do. Spooner figured out that these questions were always pulled from the Office for National Statistics database and that they were asked in rotation. Step 4. Make fingers fast. Reminiscent of the Ingrams, consortium clients would practice on modeled buzzers. Step 5. Fake a friend. Okay, this is for sure the craziest part. Once a client was on the hot seat and used the phone a friend joker, the consortium would reroute this call to a safe house. A neutral person called The Voice would pick up on a phone with a silent mute button. In the room, loads of facts laid out on the floor. Paddy, Keith, a guy named John, a pop culture expert, Poppy at a computer with Google open, and Crack the Bricky, whoever the f that was. The consortium secured 200 spots on the show from 2002 to 2007. 55 clients
That's a
made
lot
it
of
the
shit
hot
to do,
seat,
you know, to
winning
get on the show.
£4.2 million. That's
That's mad.
26% of all the money won on the show during that period. They only stopped because the producers didn't give people second chances anymore if they weren't home, so step 2 fell apart. 25% of the winnings went to Keith Burgess and Paddy Spooner. They published a book about their operation in 2021. None of what they did was illegal. It had no consequences for them. Spooner even met Paul Smith in 2020, explaining to him how they did it. Back in 2003, while the consortium collected cash, The lives of Charles, Diana, and Tagwin were destroyed. The Ingrams faced constant harassment and humiliation in public. Their cat was shot dead with an air gun. They had bags of vomit thrown at their home, windows broken. Their 3 daughters have been bullied at school. Charles resigned from the army. The family went bankrupt. Whittock resigned from his lecturer's job. And perhaps most absurd of all, he had to trademark his name to stop a company from naming cough medicine after him.
Oh my god, that's cheeky. That's like someone started a meme coin because something like a meme happened. Oh my god, that is funny. Let me see the comments, man. Let me see the comments, man. This is funny. Okay, none of these people should be harassed, but naming your cough medicine after the guy is legendary. Oh my god. Apple, if you ever got a video, yeah, send it to my Instagram. Just message me on Instagram, send it through. Majority of the time, I'll watch it anyway. Do you know what I'm saying? Just from looking at the views, the title, I'll watch it. Do you know what I mean? This video was sent to me on Instagram. The one next to it as well, that I'm going to watch next, also sent to me on Instagram. One sick person in the crowd could have ruined their entire plan. Fox, if someone else was just coughing as well. That was the most brilliant sponsor integration I've seen in a while. I swear to God, I didn't even know it was a sponsor video until one of you said it. But yeah, man, that was a decent video. So they don't get their money at all then now? Oh, because they suspect it's a scam. That's a bit peak, you know, I'm not gonna lie.